What's up, everybody? We're doing another heater core job on a Gmt800. This one happens to be the girlfriend's second daily driver other than her Subaru Outback. We lost a heater core on this a couple years ago while we were on vacation, and I'm going to be walking back and forth here a few times just so we can get the full scope of everything. So we had to stop at a Napa and grab some hose clamps, clamp everything off. Now if you notice, there are no rear heater lines on this, and this is in fact an SUV. It's a Tahoe. The oddball thing is this has rear AC but no rear heat, so kind of an oddball, not one that I've actually ever seen before. But the procedure is still the same for the heater core or the evaporator, sorry, not the evap, to actually get to the heater box and replace everything. So this one from the previous owner also had the AC compressor completely explode. So the whole AC system had shrapnel through it. So we're doing condenser, evaporator, dryer, compressor, flushing the lines, doing the rear evaporator as well, with the orifice tube in the front and the temperature valve in the back. And I get a lot of guys that are like, man, this is like a 10-hour job, like this is a pain in the ass, we have to pull the whole dash apart. So I'm just going to basically point out to you guys, you know, I can have this dash out in less than 30 minutes, you know, and then another 15 or 20 minutes for the heater box itself. You know, like I said, I've done tons of these. They're very easy to do if you know where all the stuff is to look. So this will be a fairly long video, just pointing out where everything's going to be. I've got my headlight on so I can kind of point out stuff where the light is, and hopefully this will help you guys if you ever have to do one of these, do it quickly and easily rather than have to struggle and fight, you know, through the job. So first thing you want to do, pull the A pillars off, get those out of the way, and pull these two vents out. There's little clips up in here, one on each side, little push clips. They pull the handle off. There's a Phillips here, two Phillipses on this side, two Phillips on the other side in the same location, and then there's a bunch of 7s behind the bezel. If you don't know how to take the bezel off, you probably shouldn't be working on your car anyways. Take all those out, and the upper dash lifts and pulls off. Unscrew the light sensor, and get that out of the way. Pull the not the kick panel, but the knee panel off with the two 7s under the dash, and get that out of the way. And I'm going to go over to that side here so we can start, because that's more complicated on that side than it is on the passenger side. And I'm just getting over having the Rona again, so you'll have to bear with me. So there's nothing behind this guy. I pull this and the cluster out just so I don't scratch the cluster or do any damage to it. There is a 15 on the steering shaft that you will have to remove because we're going to be pulling the column. So that pull, there's a 7 on this big plug that comes off. That plug unplugs. There's a plug that runs over to the back of this fuse block that unplugs, and then there's also a airbag connector down here you unplug. You take these two 15s off, and then there's two more 15s. There's one right there and there's one right there that come off. You pull the clip out of the steering cable, the steering cable, the shift cable, pop it out of its holder, pop it off of the grommet. The little clip looks like a staple, so pop that guy off, and then you can drop the column down. The whole column just basically pulls right out, so that's real nice and easy. Take the 410s off for, we call it the knee breaker, the big steel panel that goes right here. There's two 13s on this side and a 13 down here on the floor for this bracket, so this guy comes out pretty easy. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to unplug the two plugs that are here on the fuse block, and then you're going to also unhook this gray cable that's down here in the kick panel. This is all the wiring for this side of the dash. There's a 15 here and a 15 here. Go ahead and remove those, and then there is one 13 back here that holds this magnesium cast bracket to the pedal assembly brackets, so that's got to come off as well. Then we go up here and there's a 10 right there, and there's a 10 right there, and there's also a 10 right here on this ground, so those all have to come off. There's also behind the defroster, and I'm going to go on the outside of the car so you can see this. There is a 15 there and a 15 there, and those are the very back of the column bracket. So those, right now, this dash won't come out. So until those are loose, nothing will happen. So we'll go over to the other side real quick. I'll show you that side. Okay, so same basic thing on this side. There's a 10 there and a 10 here and another 10 on the ground. So we gotta lift those grounds off so you don't rip them. You have to disconnect the extension for the antenna for the radio, and then there are 3 15s on this side. There's one way up here, which you actually have to get to. You can kind of see it underneath the defrost vent, and then there's one here and one here, and then same thing, you have to disconnect this, and one of the ones under here, this green guy, that actually go from the dash to the body. And as you can see, we've already got this most of the way out. So other than the 2 15s on the firewall that I still have to do, the whole dash will then basically roll forward onto the seats. So if you've got a friend or a buddy or a wife or girlfriend to help you, just grab it, roll it forward onto the seat. It'll give you full access to the heater box. And really the only difficult part about the heater box is a few of, you can kind of see it back there, get my shadow out of the way. There's a 10 right there, there's another 10 further back, there's a few 10s here, here, and here, and if you pull these retainers off, get that out of the way, there's another 10 right here, and there's your AC drain, so pop that guy off, otherwise it just falls and you might lose it. After that, the entire heater box will basically fall away from the firewall. Then you can split it open, do the heater core, and reverse the process, putting it all back together. So all in all, pretty easy. The only big thing you have to remember is make sure you hook your grounds back up on each side of the dash. Make sure you plug your antenna back in. And a lot of guys will forget. Let me go over to the driver's side again here. And I might do a part 2 of this just to be a little more clear on some of this stuff. There are, when you take the column out, you have this 13 up here and you have the 2 15s here. There are 2 gold washers that go on each one of those before the column goes in place. So those are to space it out properly, make sure that it sits correct on the actual studs, since they're keyed into the magnesium pieces. And then you want to make sure that you put this bracket, sometimes you have to bend it a little bit to kind of get it to slide back up in place, and then you can bend it in place. This basically will keep the whole dash from bouncing once everything's in place. So pretty easy to do, as long as you don't have a lot of aftermarket wiring or anything that has to be removed or gets in the way. This is a pretty quick job. We normally do these in about 2 hours start to finish. It's only taken me 35 minutes or so to get where we're at, and that's including taking the video and trying to help you guys out. So hopefully this helps out some of you guys, and yeah, if you have any questions, let me know.